Yo, what is going on, guys? Jeff back here with another video for you guys. This is the second video back since that long pause in my channel, so you know if I've made it to 2 videos, I'm in it for the long haul. So thank you guys so much for joining me again for this next one. I hope you'll stick around. In this video, I'm going to be highlighting 10 of my personal favorite, or inspiring you could call them, 350Z builds that you can find online on Instagram. And I thought this would be a really cool way to expose these cars if you guys have not seen them already. A lot of them you guys have probably already seen. They're fairly well known, at least most of them. But I thought, man, it would still be really cool to make a video just highlighting these builds that I think are absolutely incredible. They're all unique in their own way. And I think one thing that you're gonna find that's common between all of them is they all have so much character. They all stand out for different reasons, but they're just incredible builds. I'm very, very excited to share them with you guys. I'm going to be explaining what it is that I love about these builds, and then some of the things that I might not love so much or that I would change if I was in charge of the builds. A couple of things to point out before we get started here is this order is in no particular order. This is not a top 10 or anything like that. I think that all of these builds are great in their own ways, so I couldn't bring myself to put them in any particular order, and that's kind of the way that I think about most builds. There's really not any one build that's better than another in my opinion. I mean, I guess you could argue that fact, but in my opinion, you know, it's really about the person that's building the car and what they're putting into it. I've said this so many times in many of my videos that I'm so big on the people putting themselves into the build. So I like to just look at them all for what they are, for the character that they have. Do they express the owner, their style, their taste, so on and so forth. So these cars are not going to come in any particular order. I think they're all amazing, all great in their own way. The other thing I want to point out is that these are all entirely my opinions. What I say about these cars are just my opinion. You may or may not agree with what I say, and that's perfectly fine. We're all different. That's the beauty of it. So I just hope you guys will enjoy. I'm going to kind of lay out some of the details about these cars, what they have, the parts and things, at least from what I could see. I wasn't able to get entirely in depth with exactly what's on all of these cars, parts-wise and modifications-wise, but just from what I've been able to see by looking at the cars, what's been posted about them and all that. So I hope you guys will enjoy. In no particular order again, let's get started. Okay, so first up we have this really, really cool 350Z. Some people might actually mistake it for a 370Z at first, and that's because it is actually wearing a Liberty Walk Z34 front end conversion, so it's got the Z34 headlights on it, but it's just an amazing car all around. It's actually gone through a couple of different iterations, both of which I really like. This is owned by a gentleman by the name of Yoshi in Japan, and I'll put his Instagram. I'll put all these cars' Instagrams here so that you guys can go and follow these builds. I highly suggest you at least go check them out because they're all just incredible. A lot that I like about this car. It's just incredible. First of all, you're going to see this on a couple of cars in this video, but it's running with Garage Mac Aero, and Garage Mac is one of the most incredible aero manufacturing groups in Japan. I really like them. They're kind of more behind the scenes. You don't see them a whole lot, but when you do see Garage Mac parts on cars, it's always just an incredible result. They make everything from body kits, of course, to wings and all that. And their Z33 offerings are just awesome. I love them so much. And this particular car here is running Garage Mac Aero parts. It's got the Garage Mac rear end in particular, and then the front end, he has actually opted for the Liberty Walk Z34 front end conversion, which is very cool. Now, the previous iteration of this was just running full Garage Mac Revolution Aero, and it was a very, very nice, tasty purple color that I really liked. And I was just a huge fan of that car in that stage, but when he went to the Z34 conversion, I was also very, very happy to see that change as well. I think with the Garage Mac Aero in the rear end of the car, Z34 front end, the Liberty Walk front bumper in particular, I think was a great match. You wouldn't be able to tell that they're two different parts manufacturers. It just came together very, very nice. Wheel-wise, the car is, you can actually see a couple of different sets of wheels on this car. Primarily, you'll see the Work T5R 2-piece wheels and kind of a gunmetal type of a color I really like. It's a great 5-spoke design wheel. You'll also see some NK PF09 wheels on the car that I think were equipped for promotional purposes on the car. Also look very, very good on the car. I'm not a huge fan of that style of wheel with the many spokes, but I still do like the look of it. Can't really go wrong with any wheel. If the car is looking really good like that, if the body's in good condition, can't go wrong with any wheel really, as long as it's a high quality wheel manufacturer. Performance wise, I'm not really sure. I don't know what's going on in the engine bay. I don't know exactly. I wasn't able to gather too much information in that regard. I do know that this car has seen some track time, so I imagine that there is something going on. I don't think it's stock by any means, but can't really give you any specifics with regards to what's going on performance or suspension wise or anything like that, but it's all looking very nice and tidy. I like it very, very much. So what would I change about this car? If this was my Z, what would I change about it? Well, to be completely honest, not a whole lot. I really like the car in both iterations that it's been in. I think that the previous iteration, the purple color, I think that I would like to see that color on the Z34 face version. I think that last purple color, he just hit a home run with that. And while I do like kind of the sunburst red-orange color that he's got on the new version, I think the purple color would look even better on the new version as well. So next up, we have a car that I think most of you guys, safe to say most of you guys have seen, and if you have not, you're in for a treat. This is an amazing car that comes from an amazing builder that has produced so many cool cars in Japan. Quite a few of these on this list are going to be from Japan. That's just kind of the way it is. These are the highest quality builds in the world, in my opinion, when it comes to the Japanese cars. Of course, they're going to be the nicest coming out of Japan. I do have a few on this list as well that come from the States or in other parts of the world as well, but you're going to see quite a few from Japan, and this one is no exception. This is from a builder named Ashiru. He's on Instagram, of course, and many other places online. You can see his builds. You've probably, if you haven't seen his specific Z33, you've probably seen another car that has his work on it. He is a custom aero designer and builder. He's made many cars, but his Z33 in particular is the one that we're highlighting today. And kind of like the previous car, he's got a couple of iterations that he's gone through with this Z, and it's just incredible. If you take a look at it right off the bat, you're gonna see things that you've never seen before. This is because, again, he has custom made most of his aero. He makes it by hand. He actually uses a pouring foam and then hand sculpts everything. He's just a master of his craft, there's no doubt about it. But this Z is very special because it looks like a modern hypercar, supercar, if you will, Lamborghini in specific. And that is actually what the design of this front and rear bumper came from, by his own admission, is this was heavily inspired by a Lamborghini Aventador. And so you can clearly see the inspiration coming through on both the front and the rear ends of the car. He's got the very sharp, angular looking Lamborghini-esque lines in the front bumper. Again, all handmade. I mean, just incredible. You can't find this at online, or you can't buy this anywhere. This is something that this guy has made. It's part of the reason I appreciate this so much. You know how much I'm all about the custom stuff. On the rear end as well, you can see all custom, sharp, angular lines, very Lamborghini type, little Huracan, little Gallardo. So it's just incredible. I love the car. I love the design. The creativity is just incredible. I was one of the many kids who grew up loving Lamborghinis, had the Lamborghini poster on my wall. He's obviously no exception. And hey, if you can do it, why not? You know, some people may not like the fact that it's a Lamborghini copy, but you know what? I think it's amazing. I think there's nothing wrong at all if you appreciate the design of something like the Lamborghini. Lamborghini cars are beautiful. If you appreciate that kind of design, then why not put it on a Z? You know, if you got the talent, if you got the ability to do it, more power to you. That's just my opinion. So incredible execution of this. You can't see a body line out of place. With the first iteration, he's running Rocket Bunny over fenders, so you can see that his custom designed front and rear ends are molded into Rocket Bunny front and rear fenders that play very well with the nice matte black paint scheme. He's got the orange stripe setting it off, just a little bit of personal style there that I really enjoy as well. Wheel-wise, you can see it most often with a set of Workmeister L1s, which look very good, kind of a gold face on those. The car just looked amazing when it first debuted. It kind of blew up the internet, and for good reason. A little bit later on, he actually changed this body kit up. He completely redesigned not only the front bumper, but the entire car. He nixed the Rocket Bunny aspect of it altogether and completely designed his his whole car, redesigned it rather with a brand new GT inspired wide body kit. I have to say, personally, I am not a huge fan of the new wide body kit that he built. That's not to say that it didn't take an incredible amount of skill and talent to make it. And I think the front end of the car is fantastic. It's just when it gets into the rear quarter panels of the car, I personally would not have sloped down the rear fenders toward the end. I think one of the Z33's positive aspects of the design of it is how the rear end kind of kicks up just a little bit in the end, and I feel like the design of the rear fender just kind of defeats that little bit of a lift in the back there. So if I had to change one thing about the car, at least the second rendition of his car, I think it would be the design of the rear fender. If you're looking at the car from the back, it looks great, but if you're looking at it from a side profile or a 3/4 front profile or something like that, just dips down a little bit too much for me in the back. Fantastic though, all the way around. You can't really complain about it. It's just a beautiful car. One thing that I really do like that he did change in the second rendition is he switched over to a set of Workmeister M1 3-piece. Now, as many of you guys may be able to guess, that is my favorite wheel. I absolutely love the M1 3-piece from Work. I'm running a set of those on my personal Z, and you will see that wheel a couple more times in this list. But if you guys have not seen this car in either iteration, definitely go check it out. His Instagram is listed below. So switching gears a little bit from more of a personal custom builder type like Ashiru over to a more established, well-known company, we're gonna switch over to this amazing, beautiful Z from SpiritRay. Now, if you guys don't know who SpiritRay is, that is a company that has produced aero parts for cars in Japan since, oh gosh, probably late 80s, early 90s. And some of the best that you'll ever see. Very rare parts. You'll see a lot of Sylvia guys, a lot of 240, 180 SXs with the SpiritRay body kits, and for great reason. They're just beautiful, clean lines. They kind of take the older body styles of the Sylvias and just kind of modernize them just a little bit. They round off some of the corners, some of the edges, just give it a little bit of a modern touch that always looks good, always looks beautiful. But this particular car here is SpiritRay's latest body kit that they made for the Z33 platform. And I was overjoyed to see SpiritRay come out with this Z33 kit. And this Z33 is an aging platform, no doubt about it. It's been out since 2002. And to see that a major manufacturer of aero parts like this come out just a few years ago with this kit, it was just a blessing for me to see it, and it is absolutely beautiful. This is what SpiritRay calls the SpiritRay Kine Perfect Body Wide Body Kit, and it includes the rear wing as well as a part of the kit, hood and everything, canards, it's all a part of the package. And I just love this car so much because it oozes style. This may be not quite as custom as some of the other cars on this list, but it's still going to be extremely rare to see anybody with this body kit, especially outside of Japan. And if it's executed correctly, it's going to be just one of the most show-stopping 350Zs anywhere it goes. So this is their demo car in specific, and everything from the color to the wheel choice and everything is just absolutely spot on in my opinion. The wheels on it are going to be Workmeister S1 3-piece, which is just you can't go wrong with the S1 3-piece. If I had to choose a different wheel besides the M1, it would definitely be the S1. It's just a classic wheel that everybody knows about, and it looks good on everything. So this car is no exception. Absolutely love the black on black wheels with the red color of this car. I just think it looks beautiful. Now, if this was mine, if I had command of a SpiritRay Kine 350Z, what would I change about it? Well, I'd have to say that, again, not a lot, but I think the front bumper has some things about it that I don't like. If I had to choose one thing, if I had to be nitpicky, the front bumper is a little strange in a couple of the lines. Some people may completely disagree with me on this, and I get it. I totally get it. Again, I'm being nitpicky, but there's just a few angles of the front bumper that I think are just not quite as complementary to the rest of the kit as I think it could be. Again, this is just personal preference, but I'm not going to get into specifics of exactly what I would change on it, but if I were to change one thing, it would be the front bumper on this kit. But absolutely beautiful. I love it. amazing. Go check out SpiritRay if you haven't already. If you got a Sylvia 240 or whatever, or even a 350Z now, possibly look into getting one of these kits and you won't go wrong. Very pricey kits, but well worth it. All right, this next one is actually relatively new. This is a kit that, or a car rather, that I just recently kind of got onto, not even a month ago. A company that I had never heard from called Neoproject Kaz. Again, out of Japan. This is a very cool kit, very wide, probably the widest kit that you're going to see for a 350Z in this list, at least. Clearly inspired. If you're following the car scene, then you'll see that it's clearly inspired by RWB, by the Porsche kits from Akira Nakai. And that is what really stuck out to me. Is this is a company that obviously took a 350Z. I think a lot of people, myself included, have always kind of seen the potential for an RWB style kit on the 350Z. The 350Z is commonly kind of mistaken for a Porsche by people who are not really in the know. So I think it's always been kind of a thing in the back of all of our minds of what would this look like if it was wearing an RWB kit. And this is it. This is what it would look like. This is the answer to that question. And that is why it is on this list. It's just so unique to see it. It's so wide, and yet I think it's not so wide that it actually detracts from the beautiful shape of the Z33. I think it's well executed on their primary demo car here. Not much to complain about on this. I think it's very cool. It's definitely going to break a lot of necks. And again, I love the inspiration by RWB. RWB kits are just fantastic. You know, they're meant to turn heads and to wow people with the width and stuff like that. So I think the Z33 wears it very well. Great wheel choice on that as well. It's a 326 power Yaba King wheels that I think really set it off with the really wide, wild body kit on it. You know, this is a car that's all about making people see it and go, geez, that thing is crazy. It's looking for attention. So I enjoy it quite a bit. What would I change about this if it were mine? Again, we're going to go to the front bumper. I think the front bumper it's just a little bit too, how do I say this? I don't really know how to explain it. I love the width, but I think it's just too flat in the front. I think that this car definitely needs canards. It needs something to kind of break up the almost wall, I want to say, on the front end there. Obviously, it utilizes the OEM bumper and just kind of adds on to that, which is cool. Again, RWB style, which is awesome, but I definitely think if this were mine, I would be adding canards, winglets, something like that, possibly some nostrils or some extra vents on there just to differentiate it from the OEM bumper just a little bit more. But again, that's being nitpicky. I think this is awesome. Hope you guys will too. Go check it out on Instagram. All right, and next up we have a car that I think at least most of you guys are aware of, if not very familiar with. This is owned by a guy by the name of Brian McCann over in Arizona here in the US. And man, a lot to say about this car. I'm gonna try and keep it concise here. I don't want the video to drag on too long, but this is just an awesome car. It's got a great history to it. It's got a great story behind it. There's just a lot to know, a lot to take in with regards to this car. Another car that's gone through a couple of different renditions in its life and is currently undergoing a massive rendition right now, a changeover rather. And it's all very, very interesting stuff. It's just gonna be incredible when it's done. It's not done yet, but it's just gonna be incredible as the previous iterations have been. The car started out originally with an original Veilside wide body kit. And this would be the one that you would see in Tokyo Drift, Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift, same kit. He had that on it originally, and then he decided to just go a little bit more extreme, a little bit more custom. He ended up partnering with a very small, not well-known aero manufacturer in Japan by the name of Stardust, which is no longer around, unfortunately. And he partnered with them and got some of the over fenders that they were producing at the time on his Z. And he was the first person in the United States to have the Stardust wide body kit. And he just went and took it to the extreme. He went and got Superleggera style side skirts and a JP Visage front bumper, and just kind of molded everything together along with the Stardust fenders and really wild rear bumper as well, set up with a diffuser off of an RX-7. Garage Mac wing. Again, I'm a huge fan of Garage Mac, so it just all came together. He wrapped the car in a nice, almost kind of an army green type of a color with red accents and the carbon accents and things like that. It came together very, very nice, along with a great wheel choice. And it was just a very cool car. It was one of those that came out and it broke the internet for a lot of people. He had a lot going on under the hood as well. Single turbo setup on his DE. Pushing, if I recall, about 650 horsepower, which is incredible. More than enough for a Z33. And just a great looking car all around. You can tell that this is a guy who's very passionate about his car, his Z, and it shows. It came together very nice. Several sponsors, definitely took care of the build, and he made it out to a lot of events in that rendition with the green car. And then it kind of switched over to a white color, and he decided that he wanted to change it up over time, and so now we're moving into kind of what is going on with it now. He decided that he wanted to go even more custom, and so now he is building a completely custom GT inspired wide body for the car. He's still keeping a Stardust front fender base with it looks like, and he's running the new NSM front bumper. This is the Nismo 370 Nismo Koki bumper design that was built for the 350Z. He was actually instrumental in bringing that bumper to the 350Z platform and offering it for sale through VIS, which was very cool. Many people enjoy that bumper. So he's running that on the front end, of course heavily modified to fit his custom fenders. In the rear end, he switched over to an Amuse rear bumper, again heavily modified, a lot of cutouts there to accommodate his new wider rear fenders. He's also running a Ferrari rear diffuser underneath, which is very, very unique. So this is a guy who's all about high-end parts. He doesn't go cheap with his stuff, and it definitely shows. I appreciate that about it. Again, the Garage Mac GT wing remains on the new version that he's building. And he's also got a carbon fiber tunnel style hatch as opposed to the standard glass in the back of the 350Z. Incredible, you know, incredible. He's been building this car for a long time. This is something that I can relate with because I've been building my Z for a long time as well. So I definitely get the struggle and I appreciate seeing his posts every time because he's not given up. He hasn't quit. He definitely has a goal in mind, a passion to complete this car, and he got quite a ways into it and then had a mishap with his engine, with the DE, and it blew up, it failed on him. He decided, you know what, if we've come this far, let's just go all out. So he is now actually swapping the DE out for a Chevy LT4. This is a Corvette C7 engine, which is insane. He will be the first 350Z to have one of these engines in the world, as far as I know. And if everything comes together according to his plan, it's going to be just a remarkable car. It really will be. He's got white color on it now with a Martini livery, which looks great, and truly does look like it would be at home on a racetrack in a GT race for sure. And I think that's exactly what he's going for. He's got many renditions and stuff. Again, the car's not done yet, but he's got many renditions of what the car could look like and should look like. And if it comes out according to his dream, then it's going to be one of the greatest Zs, I think, to ever be built, in my opinion. What would I change about it if it was mine? Well, this is hard to say because, you know, this is another car that's just oozing with style, and it has a lot of the owner's the owner in it, and so it's hard for me to say. But if it was mine, the tunnel hatch, I'm not a fan of. I've never been a fan of the tunnel hatch style. This is just my personal preference. I know a lot of people do like that, but I don't. I would definitely change that up, possibly put some louvers on the rear window. I think that would be great. Maybe it wouldn't quite play into the GT inspired look that he's looking for, but if it were mine, I would change up the tunnel hatch. I'm also not a big fan of the Nismo bumper in the front. I really I didn't like it on the 370Z, and I don't like it on the 350Z. Again, this is something that many people would not agree with me on. I know that. It's a very popular bumper, and I do agree that the way that Brian's doing it, the way he's customizing it and building it up, it does look better than it would without the custom stuff. But again, I'm just not a fan of that look overall, and I think that personally, this is just my opinion, he'd be better off custom building his own front bumper to match the rest of the look of the car. Just my opinion. Great wheels on the car as well, built by Niche Road wheels. They're Ascari forged, of course wrapped in Toyo R888R tires, which is one of his sponsors, Toyo. So awesome car, cannot wait to see it done. Go follow him if you're not, and go read the history of the car and all that. I'm sure he'd be happy to tell you about it if you can't find it yourself. And going straight from Brian's car to another Z33 that is stateside and is just looking to be one of the most incredible Zs to be built right now. It's not done like Brian's, it's still a work in progress, but one that I am equally as excited to see done, because there's just, again, so much to say about this, but let me try and get through this. This particular Z here is owned by a gentleman by the name of Colt. He is as far as I know, he is a marine engineer, so he's very, very savvy with a lot of things, a lot of things engineering-wise, and he's taken that skill and expertise, and clearly he has used it on his build here, his 350Z build. Man, where to even begin with this car? It's just incredible. You'll see that it's got a wide body kit that you've never seen before. That's because he has custom built it, and one notable thing about it is it's all metal. There's no fiberglass used in the construction of his wide body. Again, he's an engineer. He knows how to do this stuff, and that's just fantastic. His execution of it is just incredible. One of the greatest looking wide body designs that I have personally seen. This is coming from an artist, somebody who has built wide bodies in the past and is building a new one now. I love it, absolutely love what he's done. And it's wide enough to fit his wheels, which are custom BC forged wheels. I don't know what exactly they're called. I just know that he had them custom made by BC Forged. Absolutely love the black, like I said before in the past, earlier in this video. And of course, he's running the Toyo R888Rs on those wheels as well. So incredible, incredible wheel setup along with the custom wide body. But as nice as all that is, that's not even the most amazing thing about this build. If you look at the rear end of the car, you're gonna see right away that this guy means business. Definitely meaning business. He has completely built a custom rear-mounted twin-turbo setup for his Z. It's incredible. I don't think I've ever seen this. I've seen, you know, pretty much every Z33 out there that there is, as far as I know. Maybe I haven't seen them all, but I've never seen one with quite a turbo setup like this, and it's just remarkable. I mean, you could just stare at it all day and never get tired of looking at it. This absolutely looks like something that you would see on the back of a Lamborghini. This goes to show you that if you got the expertise, if you got the know-how, man, there's no limitations. You can take an old car like the Z33 and you can make it look like a Lamborghini, you know, and give it the kind of power that a Lamborghini would have as well. And that's exactly what he's done with this twin turbo system. If you have not seen some of the videos, or heard some of the videos, I should say, of this car, you owe it to yourself to go and check it out, because he's got a couple of videos where he's doing pulls with this turbo kit, and the sound alone is just insane. You guys have to hear what this thing sounds like. So beyond the turbo kit, his suspension setup is equally as incredible. He's got a lot of photos, a lot more photos of this on his Instagram page, so if you guys want to see this a little bit more in depth, make sure you go and check it out. This is a completely custom hydraulic suspension system. This car is not on air suspension at all. It's a hydraulic system, and he's got his shocks and springs and everything completely custom mounted on the inside of the car. His setup is all custom. There's nothing prefabricated, pre-purchased anywhere else. This is all stuff that he's done in his garage, and I just love it so much. I'm definitely a little jealous. If I'm being completely honest, I'm so laid out there, man. I'm jealous. This guy's build is just incredible. Again, not necessarily better than anybody else's build, but just I love it because it's unique, and the owner has put so much of himself into it. So again, another one of these incredible builds that I'm so excited to see finished. I would imagine this car is going to be finished by about the end of this year, along with Brian's as well, and hopefully mine. That would be great. And yeah, you guys need to be following this build if you haven't already. If you like Zs, 350s, you got to be following this build, so go do it. Now, going back to Japan, this next Z is a personal favorite of mine, has been for quite a few years now, since really I started getting into the Z scene. This is owned by a guy in Japan named Hayase, and this was honestly the first Z with a Rocket Bunny kit that I really loved. I was not a huge fan of the Rocket Bunny kit when it first came out for the Z33. I kind of struggled with it a lot. You know, that's one of the big reasons that actually made me want to design my own version 1 wide body kit, is because I just didn't like the Rocket Bunny. There was too much about it that I didn't like about the Rocket Bunny kit, and there wasn't very many other alternative wide body kits on the market, which necessitated that I just go ahead and build my own. But this car in particular, when I saw it for the first time, this would have been probably 2017, early 2017, something like that, it really changed my mind on the Rocket Bunny kit, and it really made me say, wow, this is a kit that can look very, very good if it's properly executed on this car. And it certainly is. It's just great. It's another car that's gone through a couple of renditions since I first found it. The first rendition of it is probably my favorite. I do like the second rendition as well, but I have to say the first one is great. It's got a matte gray kind of a color on it that it just plays so well with the lines of the car, and the wheel choice on it was a Workmeister S1 3-piece, and then he switched over to my favorite wheel, the M1 3-piece. So wheel-wise, this car was just perfect no matter what it was running in the first iteration. He kind of went through a couple of different little options, aero options. At one time he had some damned side splitters, not damned side splitters, but DAMD. This is a Japanese manufacturer called Damned side splitters that I thought looked very nice, very tasty. It set everything off, but his car was so low. Obviously, you can see how much negative camber he's running. And static, this car is static, no air suspension on this one as well. So low that I think the side splitters didn't last very long when he had them on the car. So I think that's why in a lot of photos he doesn't have them. But I thought in the few that he does have them, it just looked absolutely amazing. Great looking car. Again, the presence, you know, that this car oozes is just incredible. You can definitely see the owner's style coming out in this car. Whether you like the negative camber thing or not, I know there's not a lot of fans of this kind of excessive camber. You cannot deny that this car is just oozing style and presence, and that's what sticks out to me. The second iteration of this car, very cool as well. I'm not as much a fan of the second version of it as I was of the first one, but still, can't really complain a whole lot. He switched over all the Rocket Bunny. He got rid of the Rocket Bunny completely, and he switched over to all Nismo stuff. He got a Nismo front bumper, a Nismo rear bumper, and I believe he switched over to some Nismo side skirts as well. And then he changed his wheels as well to some Gnosis CVX wheels. That, not quite a fan of those wheels. I really wish he would have stuck with the M1 3-piece, which he does have in a couple of photos in the second iteration. My favorite part about the switch from the first iteration to the second is the change in color from the gray, which I already liked, but he went over to a Millennium Jade color, which is a classic Nissan color, one that I love so much. Have in fact considered painting my car Millennium Jade on more than one occasion, so I really do love the color. And I love the Nismo body panels as well, so it looks good, but he just did the Rocket Bunny so well. You know, he was a rolling advertisement. The car was a rolling advertisement for Rocket Bunny in every sense, and I kind of wish that he'd have stuck with the Rocket Bunny kit. Personally, a lot of people may disagree, but I like the car regardless. Not a fan of the Gnosis CVX wheels, just too much going on with those wheels, and I'm not a fan of all polished wheels as it is. But aside from that, I think that if he were to stick with the M1 3-piece and just roll with those wheels, I think the car would just be fantastic no matter what. And we're in a new location. This is what happens when the wife tells you you're being too loud making your YouTube videos. So I've moved back to my bedroom now. So let's continue here. We're staying in Japan. This next car is a really cool one. He goes by Katasi _935Z on Instagram, and his name definitely makes sense. You can see right off the bat, this is a very custom 350Z. Many of you may not even guess that it's a 350Z by looking at it at first glance until you see the side profile and the rear end. Then it becomes quite obvious that it is in fact a Z33. But when it comes to the front end of this car, it has been completely modified, converted you should say, or I should say rather, to a slant nose Porsche 935 look. And this is incredible to say the least. Whether you're a fan of the look or not, you can't deny that the amount of work that has gone into making this happen is just insane. It looks great. It looks like it's something that came out of the factory. And this is because this was built by the gentleman that we talked about earlier, Ashiru, who had the Lamborghini style Z. This is done by the same guy who built those Lamborghini style bumpers and the complete new wide body kit, original wide body kit that he built. Same guy that built that car has built this 935 conversion on the Z33, and so that is why the execution looks absolutely perfect. The guy's work is second to none. That's kind of how the Japanese are. They just absolutely, whatever they decide they want to do, they become absolute experts at it, and they don't settle for anything less than absolute perfection, and it shows in this car here. Man, so it's just a lot. It's a lot of cool stuff. The huge fog lights and the deletion of the factory headlights, the Z33 headlights, it was just pulled off so well, and it looks great. It's clearly going to turn heads wherever it goes, and quite honestly keep a lot of people confused as to what exactly it is. As I had mentioned earlier, a lot of people kind of confuse the Z33 for a Porsche as it is, and this is just going to add a little bit more to the confusion there, at least for people who don't really know or are not familiar with the Z33. Awesome job on this car. It looks great. It's gone through a couple of different wheels that, I think that the first iteration of the wheels was better than the ones that it's running right now. It's the latest wheels it's running right now are Hyperforged HFDIC Deep Concave, of course R888R tires, and they're not horrible, but I'm just, I'm not a fan of wheels that are doing too much. You see a lot of wheels like these from US manufacturers and things like that. I'm more of a purist. I like the Japanese style wheels that kind of came out of the late 90s, early 2000s. I'm just too much of a fan of that, so I don't know. These are great wheels, don't get me wrong. They look good, they look cool, but I'm a work fanboy, man. I'm just gonna admit it right off the bat. I probably always will be. But still, I mean, when the car is executed as nicely as this one is, you could really, again, put any wheel on it and it would pull it off very well. So I love this car. I like the color a lot. This is what I would consider like a blilver type of a color. It's a cross between a blue and a silver. It just works very well. It's a Porsche color, I believe. This color comes on a factory Porsche. I'm not a Porsche guy, so I don't know all the specifics about it, but I do believe that this is a factory Porsche color. So very cool car to see. I'm glad it exists. Would I do this myself? No, I would not do this myself. I would much rather prefer to build my own original design as opposed to copying a design from another car, although I do think it's amazing. And if executed like this one is, can do no wrong for sure. So yeah, not much that I don't like about it, but I wouldn't do it myself, and I would change the wheels personally. Next up, we have this Z right here that is, again, another one that's relatively new. This one was revealed, gosh, maybe a couple months ago at the most, and it stood out because it was just something that nobody had seen. It was a new aero kit, new wide body kit, and I'm always loving seeing new body kits, new aero kits and things like that. I always like seeing what's new out there as opposed to the same thing every time. So when this car was revealed, it stuck out right away because I'd never seen it before. I dug into it a little bit because I wasn't sure if this was a custom kit that the owner had built himself or if this was something from a small manufacturer, kind of like a Stardust or something like that in Japan. And I wasn't able to find too much information about it, but I do believe that this is a kit that is being produced by a company called Central 20 in Japan. And I could be wrong about that, but that is what I was able to gather, is that this could be a Central 20 wide body kit. It would be a new version. Central 20 has made body kits for cars in the past, and the Z33 in specific in the past, and so it's not too much to believe that this could be Central 20's new wide body kit for the Z33. I've only seen this kit now on 2 cars, so originally I was totally convinced that this was a custom body kit that the owner had made, but then when I saw it on another one, that's when I kind of started digging into it and found that this could be a Central 20 kit. They are also building this kit for the 370Z. The 370Z has a variation of this kit. It looks just like it does on the 350Z, and they both look great. I like them a lot. Not something that I would put on my Z in particular, but I like the fog lights in the front bumper. I definitely like the rear end. It looks great. There's one little interesting thing on the front fender. You'll see there's a little winglet just kind of near the mirror, the side mirrors there. That kind of stuck out to me when I first saw this. Can't say that I'm a huge fan of that little winglet. Function-wise, it's probably great. adds a little bit of extra downforce to the car if you're going to be out on the track or whatever, and that's cool. But stylistically, it's probably not something that I would do. It just kind of looks a little out of place to me. Again, this is my opinion, but great looking car overall. This one in particular is a nice kind of a metallic mustard yellow color. Yellow always looks good on the Z's, so you can't really complain about the color. And it is it's rolling with a set of Volk TE37V SLs, and the TE37s, I mean, it's kind of like work wheels, you know, the Rays, they're just always so clean, so nice, can't go wrong with them. So nice looking car. I was happy to see it when it came out, and I hope to see more of it in the future. All right, then this last one, this is our 10th car on the list. We're getting to the end here, but this is going out with a bang for sure. This car here is owned by a buddy of mine by the name of Mario. He goes by Threefilthy on Instagram, and right off the bat, you can see this is a showstopper right here. Just incredible. When it comes to Z's that turn heads, when you see it, you just go, wow. Is that even a Z33? Is that even a 350Z? Because it's so radically changed, so radically different that you'll be scratching your head a little bit when you see it. Man, this is another one that I could talk a lot about, you know, because first of all, Mario is an awesome guy. And I really appreciate his vision for this build. He spent a long time thinking about exactly how he wanted it to be, and it really came together. It's a perfect example of when you really put your heart and your soul into something and you don't quit on it, you get a great result every time. And that's exactly what this car is representing. Another car that you're going to see so much style and so much of the owner in the car itself. I don't know how many times I got to say that sticks out to me so much when you can look at a car. And yes, of course, you've seen 350Zs before, but when you see them and they're so unique that it speaks so much volume of the owner putting themselves into the car. You see the owner in the car, it just changes it. It's a completely new experience for me. So this is a perfect example of that. Let's talk about what's going on with this Z here. Aero wise, he is running the Nismo, the retrofitted, I'll say Nismo front bumper from the 370Z. He's running the 350Z version in the front. I've said previously in this video, I'm not a huge fan of that bumper, but the way that it was executed again on this car, it is probably the best looking Nismo 350Z bumper that I've seen on any build. Brian McCann's is not done yet, so it could definitely be in contention for that. But as far as builds that were completed and revealed, definitely this is the best one with that bumper thus far. I do like it a lot. He is running the Nismo V1 side skirts, which I'm not a huge fan of those side skirts, and if I were to change something about this car, it probably would be the side skirts. But I do like that he's running Nismo all the way around the car, which is great. Extends into the rear bumper as well. He's got the Koki Nismo Z33 rear bumper, which looks awesome. I'm not the biggest fan of it. I think it's a little too boxy for my taste. I've never had one on my own Z, but the way that it was executed here again, it just fits and flows with everything else. It's just fantastic. I'd have liked to have seen him put the Nismo V2 side skirts in conjunction with the V2 rear bumper and the Koki Nismo front bumper. I think that would have been a little bit better, but again, you can't really knock it. It is looking very good the way it is. In the front fender, he's running Fly One RS2 front fenders with the partial carbon on the vent section there. And then from what I can see, and I could be mistaken about this, from what I can see, he's actually added a piece of a Crown Carbon Crafting front wide body flare on top of that. He's molded it onto the RS2 fender to accommodate the width of his massive Work S1 three-piece wheels that are just huge. They're some of the biggest big boy specs that you'll see on any Z. That's just kind of how he rolls. He goes for dramatic effect, and I love that about him. So he actually had to widen out the RS2 front fenders to accommodate those massive wheels. Same deal in the back. He's got a Rocket Bunny fender in the back, rear quarter panel. It's clearly been massaged quite a bit, not only molded into the body to delete the body lines, but also extended to fit the massive rear wheels in the back. Great look for sure. On the hood, it's a top secret style hood. This is the same one that I've been running on Xylus in the V1 iteration, and so it's a great looking hood. I'm a huge fan of it. Rocket Bunny wing on the hatch in the back that's been completely molded in. A little extra bit of info is this hatch and the molded wing and everything came off of another friend of mine, Z. and we're all buddies. We all know each other, and so he actually was able to acquire that hatch after my buddy Z was wrecked accidentally in an accident. So he was actually able to acquire that hatch, and it just happens to work perfectly with this new build. So he did get the molded Rocket Bunny wing on there. He's running the Zakustek louvers, which I'm a huge fan of. I have a set of those on my Z as well. And his headlights are, of course, retrofitted. He's not leaving those stock with the rest of the car looking as wild as it does. And obviously the color of the car is very, very unique and custom as well. This is a guy who, he goes all in, man. When he gets the vision in his mind, he's gonna do it. He's gonna execute completely. So he's got the Hennessy livery going on with the wine red and the white Hennessy color scheme on it, and it's very, very cool. Not something I would do personally myself. I don't believe in any one particular brand of anything, whether it's a liquor or anything else, to actually plaster their brand name all over my car. But you know, that's okay. It doesn't make the car any less cool. It actually, for a lot of people, makes the car even more cool. So, you know, very, very cool. A lot to like about this car. Style-wise, it's just off the charts. I mean, 11 out of 10. I love the fact that it's got so much of him in it. Now, unfortunately, there is a little bit of a sad story attached to this particular car here. It was involved in an accident and was destroyed by a drunk driver of no fault of Mario's. And one of those things that as a car builder, it's your worst nightmare. You never wish it to happen. But Mario's resolve is in full effect, and he has since purchased a new Z33, and he is actually rebuilding this car. He's going to make it even better than it was before, and I have no doubt that he will execute on that and finish it. So Mario, if you happen to see this video, brother, I support you 100%. I love your build. Can't wait to see the second version. I know it's going to be even better. All right, so that was a little bit longer than I had hoped, but I hope you guys enjoyed it. That is all 10 cars. Now, I'm sure that there are a lot more out there that I missed. If your car is not on this list, don't be discouraged by any means. These are just 10 that I knew off the top of my head that I thought it would be cool to make a video about. If you guys have any other cars that you think I should see, maybe I've seen it, maybe I haven't, but leave it in the comments section and let me know what you guys think about these cars here that you saw today. What do you like about them? Which one's your favorite? What would you change about them? Let me know. I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments section, and it'd be good to know. I plan on doing another type of a video like this for the 370Z as well. I don't have a 370Z, and I'm more of a 350 guy, but I know there's a lot of 370 guys out there, and so I thought, you know what? If I'm going to do a 10 inspirational 350Zs, I can do 10 inspirational 370s, and maybe I'll do GTRs, maybe I'll depending on how well this video does. We'll see how it goes. Anyways, I'd love to hear your comments and all that below. Share some of your favorite cars as well, and I'd love to check them out. Hope you guys are all doing great, and I will see you guys later. Bye-bye.